Hey everybody, this is Matt, and in today's video, I have for you a small little combo video slash test hand showcase where I'm going to be showcasing a specific card that I talked about in my Labrynth deck profile. So the last video I dropped was my YCS experience and deck profile, and in that video I showcased the brand new Spicy Tech Psy-Frame Gear Epsilon shown here in the top left. So basically, this is like Gamma, except it negates trap cards, right? So yeah, I talk about in that last video how this card is incredibly cracked, and in this video I'm going to basically show you three examples, like replays where we utilize this card in a really nice way. So the synchro monsters that you need to have in your synchro deck. Obviously, Psyframe or Remote Mega. You need to have one copy of, this is the card Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. I think in that last video I called it Excel Stardust Synchro Dragon. I messed up the name. So let's read what this says. It's a level 8 synchro monster. If this card is synchro summon, you can special summon one level 2 or lower tuner from your graveyard. During the main phase, quick effect, contribute this card, special summon one Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. This is instead treated as a synchro summon. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using monster you control as material. For the rest of this turn, this monster synchro summoned by this effect are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. We also run one copy of Stardust Dragon and one copy of Baronne de Fleur. So very important. So I own all these cards except for this one right here. I'm gonna pick this up at my locals next time I'm there. It's like a $20 card at this point because people realize that it can make Baronne de Fleur on and that becomes unaffected by card effects for the turn it's summoned. So all right, so let's look at some of the replays. So the first replay I'm going to show you is a simple Labrynth mirror example where basically so in this case, we both sided for going second because we know that we're playing Labrynth, right? And my opponents obviously put in Virus to call traps and put in Impure Iron Wall, kept Impure Iron Wall just in case I try to hit them with evenly matched, right? So let's see. So let's say I go second, right? So they're gonna go ahead and set 4. Uh, let me swap here. So they're gonna go ahead and set 4 and pass, right? With Lady in hand. So then let's see what I draw. I'm gonna top deck Psy-Frame Gear Epsilon. So the first thing to do is on draw phase shotgun. Welcome here. Chain Lady. Summon out Lovely, and then Epsilon Epidemic Virus is going to immediately tribute Lady on Lovely. And basically, because I chain, so if I didn't chain anything to Virus, they can use their Lady to basically chain to Virus and set another trap. But I chained Epsilon, so not only did I interrupt that and prevent Lady from doing that, but I went ahead and used Epsilon to negate Eradicator Virus here. So by the way, they're now -2, right? So they started the turn with 5 cards, 4 on the field, 1 in the hand, and now just from this right here, they are now -2, right? They're now with 3 cards on the field, 0 in hand. So they went from 5 cards to 3 cards, right? Because Virus, if it doesn't accomplish its goal, trades basically -2 for nothing, right? Or 2 for nothing. So yeah, so this is already like mad plus that I just accomplished here. And then if I go into main phase and they don't do anything, I can go into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Excel Stardust Synchro Dragon will revive Epsilon, and if they do nothing, then this becomes Baronne de Fleur. But even if they try to do something, like let's say they try a Torrential here, I can chain the Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon as a quick effect, summoning out Stardust Dragon and then immediately synchroing Baronne de Fleur. And this Baronne de Fleur is unaffected by card effects, including Torrentials. So their Lady will pop, Baronne will not, and then I can use Baronne to pop their last card, and now they have 0 cards. So all that thanks to Psy-Frame Gear Epsilon. You see that? Pretty nuts. Like, yeah, even if it's just for the mirror match, it's good to have this card because you don't want to get shotgun virus on and then have no response, right? Yeah, this card is insane, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and swing. Set 4 pass. I'm gonna summon Lady, and then they're just gonna surrender. So because they have 0 cards, right? Whatever card they get can just be negated by Baronne de Fleur. Like even if they get like evenly matched right here, Baronne de Fleur has a negate. You see what I mean? Like how crazy that is. Let's go into the branded example. So let's suppose that I'm against a branded player that is running both gimmick. So I'm going second against a branded player, right? And they're running both Gimmick Puppet, Nightmare, and Jinzo in their deck for branded Expulsion. So let's assume that's the case. For those of you who don't know, with branded Expulsion, they can summon Gimmick Puppet to my field, and then I'm locked out of summoning any monsters. Or they can, or they can summon Jinzo to their field and then lock me out of trap cards, right? So let's see what happens. So they're gonna lure, banish Mercurier. Mercurier is gonna grab Cartesia, or no, grab Albaz, right? Luber into Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion will send Jinzo and fall on Albaz. So this is how branded players can get Jinzo on their field, which will basically like lock you out from playing, right? This is assuming they know that you're a Labrynth. So this is like game 2. I cited in Frame Gear Epsilon, right? So Rebellion pitching Gimmick Puppet in this pitching Albaz. So they can get one in the graveyard. Mirror Jade comes out, and then Cartesia specials. Mirror Jade will banish itself to send Albion. Cartesia will fuse with itself and Gimmick Puppet to make Grangreal. Grangreal will mill Saronir. Saronir will mill Retribution. And then Albion will mill Branded in White. So now Retribution can recycle Branded in White. Then Branded in White can basically fuse Albaz in the graveyard with Ad Libitum in hand to make Masquerade. And then Ad Libitum can bring back Mirror Jade. And Mirror Jade's effect is live. And then they can go to end phase, recycle Cartesia, and then Albion can set Branded Expulsion. So now, on my draw phase, they can shotgun Branded Expulsion, targeting Jinzo and Gimmick Puppet. So they have to summon one to each field. So they'll summon Jinzo to their field and Gimmick Puppet to my field, right, if I do nothing. But because this is a trap card, I'm going to chain Frame Gear Epsilon to negate Branded Expulsion and destroy it. I'll bring out Driver. No Jinzo, no Gimmick Puppet. And then Grangreal can bring out Despin Queritius. And then I can Synchro into a Synchro Stars Dragon. Revive Epsilon. And now if they try to Mirror Jade to banish, for example, granted they should have done this sooner, right? I can chain this to make Stardust Dragon and then Burn the Fleur. Burn the Fleur is unaffected by card effects. So now Burn the Fleur can pop Mirror Jade. Queritius can try to use its effect, but it will not affect Burn the Fleur. I can swing and Queritius, and I can set forward and pass. And then Albion can grab Branded Fusion if they want, right? So I'm going to welcome Lady, bring out Lovely, and then I'm going to use Virus here. Lovely, setting Big Welcome. Get rid of Branded Fusion. Yeah, this game is pretty over. They can Albaz attempt to Super Poly my field, but then I have a Barone to negate, and then I'll chain Iron Wall because they discarded Tragedy. So now Tragedy is shut down. Now they can use Cartesia to summon, and then attempt to fuse on summon, and then I can Torrential. And that kills my board, but then next turn I have no Cartesia will return, but the next turn I have Big Welcome, which will bring out Lady. Now, by the way, imagine I didn't have Epsilon. Then that means they would have Jinzo on their field this whole time, and then I have no outs, right? Because Jinzo basically, let's read what Jinzo says, for those of you who don't remember what Jinzo's all about. Jinzo says, trap cards and their effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all trap effects on the field. So basically, like I would just have like Lady and like one other card. So yeah, play this card, Frame Epsilon. It's just amazing. Like it's so good, right? Anyway, so at this point, they can't even use Bestials under Iron Wall. They're gonna use Cartesia, grab Saronir because they have nothing else. I'm gonna welcome chain Lady. I'll grab Punishment. They're still under Virus, right? Punishment, Lady Chain, get Big Welcome, send Garura, reset Welcome. Yeah, this game is pretty over. You see that? All this because I have Epsilon. By the way, at YCS, like if you're a good branded player, you're definitely gonna like side in Jinzo to use under Expulsion against trap decks. It's like the best. It's the absolute best play you can make is like summon Jinzo, right? Yeah, Yeah, they just have a bunch of bestials and then they can't do anything. Yeah, this game is pretty over. Lord, set. Bounce Lord. Pop card and field. Pop star in the air. Doesn't matter. Yeah, and then the game's over. So yeah, play Cyframe Epsilon. It's insane, right? Last example against Mathmech. Okay, so let's swap here. So small world, ban effect veiler, Nibiru to get circular, send Sigma, Sigma revive. Circular will search Superfactorial. Superfactorial is a trap, folks. Addition. Labrynth, search diameter. Diameter summon. Grab circular. And then take Heat Soul. Parallel Exceed. Summon, and then Heat Soul will draw. Make Lingering Bow. IP. Right, so they have a Trap Negate, they have IP in the Unicorn Bounce, and then they have Superfactorial, which can rip one card from my hand, one card that's set, right? So, Hiko will draw them a card. Battle phase evenly, Lingering Bow will negate. Set 3. IP will tag out into Unicorn. Unicorn will bounce Welcome. End phase, they use Superfactorial. Attempt to revive, chain Epsilon, and then chain Lady. So, because you should chain Lady to the same chain because Superfactorial is a normal trap, and it hasn't been negated by Epsilon yet. So, Factorial 1, Epsilon 2, Lady 3, right? Now we have... Yeah, so if that resolved, I would have lost 2 cards, right? And they would have had a monster on the field with a negate, another body that can possibly go in access code. Yeah, it would have been pretty bad. But like, yeah, Epsilon it's just so good. It's so good. And then I'm just gonna shotgun goes in, lock them in the darks. In phase. Battle. Revive circular. Sigma, chain punishment, chain lady, chain welcome. Lovely, set big welcome. And then punishment will send Antis. Chain lovely, chain 2 Antis. Pop. Use a normal summon and so yeah, Cyframe your Epsilon is insanely good. Please side it. And against any deck that you suspect has an annoying trap card that you have to deal with, always side against Mathmech, always side in Labrynth Mirror, always side against Trap Trick, always side against Branded. Sometimes sided against Sprite, and sometimes sided against Kashtira, depending on whether or not you think they have virus in their, if they're going to side in virus. I would always side in against Dark World, because most Dark World players that I've played, because their deck is like all darks, side in virus, because it's just like, it's so free, right? So yeah, really good. I hope this convinced y'all to play this tech, because it's just so much value. It's so much value. You have no idea. So. Like if they had used Superfactorial on the in the main phase instead of the end phase, then the Epsilon and driver that I summon can immediately become Baron de Fleur essentially, and then I get a pop and a negate. So like even with their effect failure in hand, it's like it like forces it, right? And then if they negate my pop, next turn I have a negate for whatever play they try to make. So yeah. It's insanely good. I didn't take the synchro package into the YCS because again I found out about this card like right before YCS, and I got it like 2 days. It arrived in mail 2 days before from TCG Player. I put it in, but it still did a lot of work. But instead of going into Baron de Fleur, I would just go into Cyframe Lord Omega, and again Cyframe Lord Omega can just rip cards out of their hand, and it's a 2800 beater. So yeah, really good. Like I hope this convinced you to consider running this in your side deck, because I think it's like better than Gamma, it's better than Ash, it's better than most things that you can side for going second, in my opinion. So all right, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Peace.